welcome back to Chat and Chill. Oh. Now, today we're going to start with a story to do with Max Mosley. Is he racist or is he not? Max Mosley came out and basically had an article where he was running a campaign for another gentleman. Can't remember his name, couldn't really care less, to be honest, anyways. And it was to do with, and I quote, coloured immigrants coming to this country. And he thinks that these coloured immigrants should be sent back home to wherever they came from because they can bring harmful diseases to their children. Oh, God. Oh, God. Here's a Channel 4 News interview. Why don't you check it out right now?
Mr. Mosley, you said in the News of the World trial in 2008 that the claim that leaflets were put out alleging immigrants brought disease to the UK was absolute nonsense. Did you get it wrong, or did you lie under oath?
Dream of lying under oath. That's a very offensive suggestion which you shouldn't make. Absolutely shouldn't make. The truth is that I was asked about that leaflet and I said to the barrister, if that leaflet existed, if you had it, you produce it. And of course they should have produced it if it existed.
Well, you actually said you didn't recall
No, listen
it.
to the answer. I've never seen that leaflet, the original, and I'd like to see it. That's a photocopy. I'd like
this is a photocopy of the original, which you saw in Michael Crick's report. I'm happy for you to have a look at that, just to look through it. But I mean, I'm also happy to quote from it. Walter Hesketh's by-election leaflet says, coloured immigration threatens your children's health.
We've already had
all those
that.
terrible suggestions. Well, why did you publish it?
No, they asked me in the trial
whether
whether that leaflet existed. And I said, which was absolutely true, that it was complete nonsense, and that was my recollection. It still is my recollection. I'm not even sure it's genuine, but if it is genuine, it doesn't reflect my views today, and this is entirely a red herring put out by the Daily Mail, and I'm astonished.
So you think this might be a hoax, this leaflet here, that I'm trying to get you to have a look at?
I've never seen the original.
Right.
We would have to... My lawyers have actually asked the Mail for the original, and it would be interesting to give it some forensic tests.
Well, the original is in 2 public libraries, and your name is on the bottom of it. You are legally responsible for it. Do you accept that?
This is what you say. We'd like to look at it. But in the meantime, assuming it is true, that does not reflect my view, absolutely. And this was 56 years ago, and it's an attempt by the Daily Mail to distract from what the real issue is, which is whether they are breaching the Data Protection Act.
Did you, at the time, in 1961, believe in sending immigrants home to Jamaica? Did you believe that?
No, as your quote already said, I believe that financial inducement should be offered to persuade them to go home. That is now completely academic because we're 50-odd years on, and it's no longer a possible question. And I think I should remind you of this, that this was in 1961. I ceased to have any involvement in my father's movement in 1963. I went into other areas. In 1982, you had the Conservative Party, Monday Club, had a committee for repatriation of immigrants. The secretary of that committee was Mr. Bercow, the Speaker of the House of Commons. He has also changed his view. You are entitled, as you get older, to change your view, and it's outrageous.
Okay, but did you? I'm asking you about your view at the time. Did you believe that immigrants brought disease to the UK in 1961? Is that a belief you held?
I have no reason to believe that at all, then or now. I think,
and would you admit that those statements are racist?
I don't know about racist. They're deeply offensive. And
you don't think it's racist to say that immigrants bring disease to the UK?
They might be completely the same. They might be an immigrant from somewhere like Canada or exactly the same. It's nothing to do with race. It's
no, this was particularly
immigration.
About coloured people. Coloured immigration threatens your children's health, is a claim in the leaflet that I put before you.
It doesn't say coloured immigrants bring leprosy.
This is the direct quote from the leaflet. Coloured immigration threatens your children's health.
Absolutely, but that's not...
You're saying that's not racist?
I think probably, yeah, I think that probably is racist. I will concede that completely. But
so would you issue an apology to the West Indians in Manchester, who must have been absolutely terrified?
I've no reason to apologise to anyone.
Please take your call afterwards. But I mean, you're not apologising to anyone for these racist statements? Statements you admit are racist?
This was a statement in a leaflet, which I'm not even sure is genuine, which would never reflect my view. It wouldn't reflect my view then or now, because I simply wouldn't dream of insulting people. A
lot of people might be really shocked that you can't apologise for a leaflet that has your name on the bottom, which makes statements that you admit now are racist.
If that leaflet is shown to be genuine, then I would certainly say it should not have been given. Absolutely.
Will you apologise to West Indians living in Manchester?
None of it's such nonsense that, will you apologise? The question is...
Why is that nonsense? People must have been terrified to see this leaflet circulating by the candidate that you backed, a candidate that you called quite a respectable man.
He was an ex-policeman, former international athlete, very decent person as far as I was concerned, and I thought he was then, and I think he is now.
You still think he's a decent person to put out a leaflet like this?
The thing is, you're accusing me of putting... I'm the person who's got their name on the bottom of the leaflet. So
you published the leaflet, you're legally responsible for it.
Absolutely. If that leaflet's genuine, I'm responsible for it, and it shouldn't have been issued. And the point I make is this, that I think it's perfectly legitimate to say we don't want immigrants to come in, and people are doing that now about the EU. What is not legitimate is when they get here to insult them or to say something offensive or difficult. And that, if that's correct, should not have been said.
And anyway, let me get straight into another story, and that's to do with Toys R Us and Maslin, who face collapse with 5,500 jobs in jeopardy. Now, what's happening is that Toys R Us and Maplin can't actually, you know, find any buyers. They're losing a lot of money, a lot of financial problems, and, well, yeah. They're trying to get deals in place for buyers to come and, you know, take over the company. The owner of Maplin put Maplin up for sale, and nothing is really going down and happening. Nothing's been materialized. People are pulling out the deals. There's more issue after more issue. This ain't the only ones having a problem. A lot of, you know, sofas and bed companies are having issues. We already know that bloody Woolworths shut down a couple of years ago, so that's crazy. Now, Maplin has 200 stores and 2,500 staff in the UK, with Toys R Us, who have 105 stores and 3,000 workers. So that's where we got the figures from, which is a lot of jobs, man. That's an extra 5,000 heads are going to be chasing your ass for jobs real soon. But anyways, hopefully Toys R Us, hopefully Maplin can sort the things out, and hopefully those staff members can get a job potentially. If things do go down badly. Now let's get into the next story, and it's to do with cannabis being sold in the UK. Now the highest selling illegally cannabis in the UK is at the moment is skunk, which is really bad because it's linked to higher risk of psychotic mental health episodes, which is why I've always said F skunk. I don't mess with skunk. I don't do it anymore anyways. When I did used to mess with marijuana in general, it was quite a lot of skunk, and I had a bad trip, so never really went back to it. I have had it once every 6 years, you know, if I really want to, though. I'm not really into that no more, you know what I mean? It's got to be like your birthday or something, but skunk, though, man, that's disgusting, bruh. Anyways, in 2016, 94% of police seizures were high-potency marijuana, i.e. skunk, compared to 85% in 2008 and 51% in 2006, meaning basically 94% basic people just buying skunk, man. I'm not going to lie to you, man. Skunk's bad for you, man. Really, 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 really bad for you. Now, you know, you can get prescription cannabis and you can get other strains of cannabis. They're all bad, not as bad as skunk, though, so I don't know. Don't use skunk. And that's the end of the news for today. So I'll be back here for some sports. So you'll see me doing the sports in a second. If it's not, it's a link in the description below. If it's not a link in the description below, it'll be at the end of the video. See you then. See you again soon. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like, because I make the content every single day, bruh. Peace.